Yo. Why you stopping? Yo.
It was January 28th, 2001, Super Bowl Sunday. We're sitting around the office, brand new detectives. I mean, we were fresh cabbage. There's a call that came in about a body found inside a vehicle in Southeast Atlanta.
This is actually one of our first cases together. Since we're rookies, we're being called to assist veteran detective BJ Reese.
This guy was a total homicide legend, and we couldn't wait to get a chance to work with the best in our unit. So we headed out to the scene, notebooks in hand. Murder school was about to be in session.
We arrive at the crime scene, a cut-through road next to Trestle Tree Apartments in Southeast Atlanta.
My old stomping grounds.
Reese, what up? They brought me fresh meat.
So Detective Reese was a character. He was funny, he had dry humor, but he was a great guy and he was a wealth of knowledge.
All right, what do we got, big homie?
Black male in the front passenger seat.
The victim is identified as 29-year-old Henrico Moran.
Have a look inside.
We're trying to learn. I mean, the school bells have rung.
What do you see?
He's got multiple gunshot wounds. He's got one in the upper torso, he's got one in the left cheek, and he's got one in the left hand.
He was fighting.
Yo.
Which, even as rookie detectives we know, that's gonna be a defense wound.
What else?
Looks like the body doesn't appear to have been moved.
I'm not seeing any bullet holes on the outside of the vehicle. So that's making me feel like the shooting went down from inside the vehicle.
Yo, check it. I got some burned up magazines in there.
All right, so it looks like our killer was trying to torch the car.
He knows that either his DNA, his fingerprints, some type of biological or physical evidence may be there that could link him to this crime scene, and he's making an attempt to get rid of it.
Nice observations.
It looks like they placed it in the car near the seats to try to catch the seats on fire, but it just didn't work.
Oh, yeah, we got something, fellas.
So as we dive deeper into our crime scene, we look in the back seat and we see 2 spent shell casings.
Bingo. What's that, 40 cal, huh?
It's all starting to add up. So if our shooter was sitting in the front driver's seat and he's firing a weapon, they're going to eject to the right.
What's the motive?
We know this car is not on the roadway. It's off the beaten path.
So the vehicle's concealed here, probably on purpose.
Our killer more than likely driving the car pulled off the roadway to get out of view because something was happening.
Dope deal gone wrong.
Or a robbery.
We got a lot of questions, very few answers. But right now, the best thing is to find who actually owns the car.
Thank you, sister. Yep. Cool, so we got an ID on the owner of the vehicle. It's a Miss Shantae Mitchell.
Right away, we know it's not Henrico Moran's vehicle.
She lives in Inglewood.
Shantae Mitchell. She's next up for an interview, and we're eager to go do that.
You two speak with Ms. Mitchell. I'm going to make a death notification to Enrico's family.
We got this.
You know, the first big question we gonna ask, why is there a dead guy in your car, and do you know him? We roll over to the Inglewood Projects to meet Shantae.
I know why y'all here.
Yeah?
Pooh's dead.
She's kind of already heard he's dead. You know, it's in the grapevine. It's out there. Inglewood, you know, news travels fast.
Pooh is Henrico's nickname?
Yeah, Pooh. That's what everybody call him.
This sister is kind of matter of fact. There are no tears or anything.
Now, how do you know Pooh?
He's my ex-boyfriend.
You let your ex drive your car?
It's his car. It's only in my name because he ain't got no credit.
And when was the last time you saw Pooh?
Last night about 9.
He was parked in his vehicle in the Horseshoe in Inglewood around 9 p.m. the night before we found his body.
Already, man. Yeah, that's the impression.
The Horseshoe is like the epicenter to where people come to meet, to do drug deals, to party. I mean, the Horseshoe was a central meeting place that had everything but a DJ.
Pooh loves hanging out at the shoe. Every day, all day.
What's he do? Sell dope?
Yeah.
Pooh was very well known in Inglewood, and if you really wanted to find Pooh, the Horseshoe was the place to go. Shantae says the last time she saw Pooh, they were just kind of joking around with each other.
What you doing later?
Nothing with you.
Come on.
She goes on to say that Pooh was trying to get back with her because they dated for a long time.
I was just talking to him because we share a credit card and I wanted him to pay the bill. Come on, Pooh. You know you got the money to take care of me.
Yeah, all right. We'll see.
How long have y'all been broken up?
Like 3 months ago?
And what, you're still friendly with each other?
Mm-hmm.
It just felt from my gut, and Vin agreed with me, she was holding something back.
Is there anything that you can think of that could help us identify Pooh's killer?
You know, everybody's saying that Chuck might have had something to do with it.
She had no details. She just had a name, Chuck. We asked her, do you know Chuck's real name? Shantae said no.
Why would Chuck kill him?
I don't know, that's just what everybody's saying.
All right, are they saying anything else that might help us out?
Nah.
Nah.
Are we done here?
Yeah, we're done.
We both knew something wasn't adding up with her. She wasn't emotional, and she was holding back. There's something she wasn't telling us. We head back to the office to update Detective Reese. Quinn and I are basically recapping this interview with Shantae, writing our notes, getting ready to meet Detective Reese, when all of a sudden he busts into the squad room, excited.
Somebody's having a day.
And Reese doesn't get that excited, so we knew it was good information.
Enrico's family told me a lot. How'd it go with Shantae?
Well, she said a guy named Chuck is the killer.
Really?
And that's when Reese drops a bombshell.
Family like Shantae for the murder.
That's exactly lining up with our gut feeling when we left Shantae. We gotta talk to Shantae ASAP.
To solve this murder, we'll need to untangle a twisted web of lies.
He was seeing another woman.
Something isn't right.
Bingo.
The investigation is about to have a shakeup.
Let's head back to Inglewood.
This was our shot.
Were you watching the other night when everything went down with Pooh?
It's time to earn these gold badges. The evidence will point toward a sinister plot.
Nothing stays secret in the Horseshoe.
He couldn't stand Pooh.
It's looking like the apprentice killed the master. In the end,
oh my God, get over here now.
It takes an unexpected witness to help close the case.
They need to go ahead and come clean with us.
Sometimes it takes a village to solve a murder.
For now, we focus on Shantae until we can focus on someone else.
So it's like, tag, you're it, until you're not.
Exactly.
All right, so what's our next steps?
You guys need to talk to Shantae again.
All right, we're on it.
Let's boogie.
Now, we gotta get some answers. It's time to circle back, ring the bell. It's round 2.
Ding, ding.
You need to be straight up with us this time.
What are you talking about?
Your relationship with Pooh. We're hearing it wasn't so rosy.
She cops to maybe it wasn't a friendly breakup after all.
He was seeing another woman. And he started missing credit card payments, and that was pissing me off too.
What were you doing on the night of the murder? Where were you?
With my friends.
All right, let's do something. Write down all the numbers and names of your friends so we can verify that.
She just went up and down saying she had nothing to do with his death.
I told y'all need to talk to Chuck.
She was all over this Chuck scenario, and she kept trying to bury that down our throats. So as me and Vin are sitting here trying to get round 2 going with Shantae Mitchell, we hear all this commotion outside on the porch area. Somebody's coming into the house.
Yo.
Hey, welcome in, brother.
As soon as he sees me and Quinn, his face completely changes. He looked like a deer caught in the headlights.
All right, now, who are you?
I'm Lil Craig.
He's my younger brother.
You hear about Pooh?
That's right.
Apparently, everybody in the neighborhood know Pooh is dead.
Big sale today.
Yeah.
We're looking at all these shoe boxes and bags. I mean, he's shopping way after Christmas, and he's happy about it.
Shantae gave me her credit card.
The same credit card that you share with Pooh.
Nah, it's a different one.
Something's not right.
What you got going on, young brother? Because I don't believe you.
I just get right in this kid's face.
Cause something's stinking up in here, so I need to come holler at you real quick. It's you and me right now.
I'm saying to Lil Craig, yo, man, what's up with all these packages? What's your relationship with our dead man?
Did you kill Pooh because you broke up with your sister?
No way I wouldn't do that to Pooh.
Huh?
No way I wouldn't do that to Pooh.
You wouldn't do that to Pooh?
No.
No.
He goes on to say that he looked up to Pooh like it was his big brother, like he loved him so much.
We can't tell if little Craig is putting on a show, but we need to lock him into a story.
So when's the last time you saw Pooh?
It was in the evening, like 6 o'clock. He was in the horseshoe, talked about going to a party or something.
He talked with him briefly, so we got him locked into that. He stamped that for himself. His sister saw him at 9. Lil Craig is saying 6 p.m.
So you know who killed Pooh then?
I heard it was Chuck.
We have little Craig now saying the same thing his sister Shantae said.
Who told you that?
Just word on the street.
So I gotta think, did they get their stories together?
What can you tell us about this Chuck dude, bro?
Look, I know nobody messes with him.
According to Lil Craig, everybody in Inglewood was afraid of Chuck. He robbed for a living. That was his job. His modus operandi was to walk up and rob, and he always carried a gun.
I heard he killed a guy.
Me too.
So at this point, Chuck is added to our suspect pool, no doubt.
What about you, Shantae? What you got for me? Okay, cool. I guess our time here is done for now. All right, we'll be in touch with y'all. Thank you.
Shantae and her little brother Craig are not off the hook, but there's nothing else we can do with them right now. We gotta catch and release and keep it moving.
We're still homicide babies at this point, so every piece of information that we gathered on Shantae and Craig, we shuffled over to Detective Reese. Reese thought we were making great progress in the case.
Then out of nowhere, Reese gets reassigned to a cold case over at the DA's office. Suddenly, we're the lead detectives on the Henrico Moran homicide. It's like our training wheels just got taken off. And we knew there was bad blood between Shantae and Pooh after the breakup.
So we decided to focus on the new girlfriend.
Maybe she can help shine a light on the case.
We set up a meeting with Pooh's girlfriend, Kiki Smith.
Thank you for meeting with us.
No problem.
The reason why it's so important to talk to Kiki Smith because she's the new lady. She's gonna know Pooh's day-to-day activities, who he kicks it with, and tighten our timeline even closer.
How can I help?
So, do you know about this guy, Chuck?
Yeah?
You know his last name?
Do you know if this guy Chuck had any beef with Pooh?
Not that I had ever heard of. The only one that has beef with Pooh is Shantae.
Here we are, back to Shantae.
She wouldn't move on.
Kiki had no good words for Shantae. She said it was an awful breakup, and she couldn't take being the loser. And she said that Shantae never got over it.
They fought and they weren't even together anymore.
Now we got an independent source pointing the finger at Shantae.
It's always about the Benjamins with you.
She says that they were always arguing about money.
It's over between us. And I ain't paying for your stuff. I want my chain back.
That's mine now.
She remembers an argument about a gold necklace with a diamond-studded pendant that Shantae took from Pooh, and Pooh always wanted to get back.
You better give it back.
You better pay that credit bill or else.
She even heard Shantae say to Pooh, I'm gonna do something to you.
Do you think Shantae killed Pooh?
I don't know. She'd have to have some help.
She doesn't think that Shantae acted alone.
Like what, from her brother?
No, her baby's daddy.
She suggests that we go talk to her child's father, a guy named Phil.
He couldn't stand Pooh.
Kiki goes on to say, a couple of weeks before Pooh's death, that Pooh and Phil got into it over Shantae.
He called Pooh and he went crazy.
It was a heated argument on the phone.
Boy, you're gonna end up stinking somewhere.
Now, if you from the street come up stinking means you're gonna be dead somewhere. And now he's threatening the life of our victim.
I think it's time we have a talk with Phil.
For sure.
We gotta throw him in the suspect pool now.
Q.
The motive in this homicide is becoming crystal clear.
I saw Lil Craig the day after Pooh was killed.
Everyone in the victim's inner circle keeps leading us back to Shantae.
He's a liar.
Was their breakup so bad it led to murder?
for meeting with us.
Anytime we work a homicide case, we want to meet the significant other because we know intimate relationships share intimate information.
Do you think Shantae killed Pooh?
I don't know. She'd have to have some help.
Girlfriends, or better than phone records, fingerprints, or DNA?
Like what, from her brother?
No, her baby's daddy.
There are a wealth of information anytime you work a homicide investigation.
Come fly with me.
Thank you for meeting with us.
How can I help?
We are now running point on the murder investigation of Henrico Pooh Morant.
The only one that has beef with Pooh is Shantae.
During an interview with the victim's current girlfriend, she implicates the victim's past girlfriend named Shantae Mitchell.
She'd have to have some help.
Like what, from her brother?
And Shantae isn't swimming alone in the suspect pool.
No, her baby's daddy.
So Kiki tells us we need to go see Shantae's child's dad, a guy named Phil.
Boy, you're gonna end up stinking somewhere.
We hear that Phil made a statement that our victim's gonna end up dead.
I think it's time we have a talk with Phil.
For sure.
He's connected to Shantae. Shantae's been on our radar from the beginning. That's something we've got to take a deeper dive into.
All right, let's see what we can find on this guy.
We then learned that Phil's real name is Phil Harris.
Bingo. He's got a record.
Nice.
Hold on.
What?
A quick search in the database determines that Phil was actually in jail on the night of the murder.
Damn.
So Phil's alibied out.
That went nowhere fast.
All right, what next?
We gotta go check up on our mystery guy.
So we still got this guy, Chuck, that we have yet to identify.
Let's head back to Inglewood.
Let's slide.
One thing we learned, even though we're babies in this unit, the answers always lie in the neighborhood. We want to get out there and make some friends. Let's start some new relationships in Inglewood.
Y'all talk to Kiana?
Kiana? No, not yet.
She knows everything that's going on around here.
One of the people everybody was telling us they need to get a holler at was a girl named Kiana Morris. She is the true eyes and ears of that particular hood.
What apartment is she in?
23C. It overlooks the horseshoe.
So maybe Kiana saw something on the night of the murder.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, man.
We meet with Kiana, and she agrees to speak with us.
Thank you for meeting with us.
Yeah. Pooh was a nice guy. He didn't deserve that.
And as soon as we walk in the living room, and I look out the window, I got a bird's eye view of the entire horseshoe.
Nice for you.
There's always something going on out there. It's like better than TV.
Were you watching this better than TV stuff the other night when everything went down with Pooh?
Yeah, I saw what happened.
And she actually saw Pooh. About 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, he was posted right outside up under her window in the horseshoe.
Did you see anything suspicious?
It was dark. I saw that he wasn't alone.
She says little Craig was out there with him, sitting in the car. We like, damn. Little Craig told us the last time he saw our victim, Henrico Morant, it was the Saturday before the Super Bowl at 6 p.m. Now she's saying at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, little Craig is sitting in the car with Pooh. Something stinking.
He's a liar.
Right. All right, so did you see Lil Craig and Pooh leave here together?
No, Lil Craig left and then Chuck showed up.
Really?
Yo, Pooh.
She says the last person she saw talking to our victim was Chuck.
Man, I'm faded, bro.
How do you know this guy was Chuck?
His jacket.
She said because he's always wearing that red, white, and blue racing cup jacket. He never takes it off.
She says Chuck was standing outside of the car talking to Pooh, and it was about 3:15. It's the last time she saw Chuck and Pooh together.
Chuck asked for a ride?
She can actually hear the conversation. I mean, her windows are up.
Did he say where he wanted to go?
I didn't hear that part.
I'm just praying that she knows Chuck's real name.
You know his full name?
It's Chuck Lee?
Chuck Lee. Okay. He live in Inglewood?
No, Chuck is out in Trustletree.
That's a couple blocks away from where the car was found. That's the connection. That's all making sense now.
What do you think?
I think Chuck looks good for this.
Chuck could have killed our victim and literally walked home and been home in 2 minutes.
Hey, and since Lil Craig and his sister lied to us, we're not gonna X them out of this just yet.
Right now, we got a gumbo of 3 viable suspects. We got to get back to the office. Let's chop up all the information on these people and see where we need to go next.
We started by taking a closer look at Pooh's ex-girlfriend, Shantae Mitchell. She gave us a list of the people she was with on the night of the murder.
We contacted all of them, and they completely alibied her out of our case. Next, we shifted our focus to Chuck Lee. He was last seen with Pooh in the Horseshoe shortly before his murder.
We ran him through the database, and we saw that he served time on a weapons offense.
So we pulled a mugshot, and we showed it to our girl, Kiana. She confirmed that's the man she saw with Pooh. Everything's lining up.
Back at the office, we learned CSI didn't recover any prints or DNA in the car. So all of a sudden, I get a call.
Detective Velasquez. Yeah.
It's a resident from Inglewood. She's got information. And we're happy about this because this is one of our first cases. It seems like everybody wants to help us.
Repeat that?
I saw Lil Craig the day after Pooh was killed. He was acting like he just ran into a bunch of money.
Okay, you know where he got the cash?
It was Pooh's money.
According to this witness, as soon as it was discovered everybody knew that Pooh was dead, Little Craig made a beeline to the stash house that Pooh had in Inglewood, just the other side of the Horseshoe.
He cleaned the place out.
Okay.
She said he took clothing, jewelry, money, drug scales, and he took some weight. He actually took drugs out the apartment.
I'm like, wait a minute. I remember the shopping bag.
Hey, welcome in, brother.
Big show today.
Lil Craig is spending Henrico's money before he's even cold at the morgue.
I'm ready to put some bracelets on this kid.
All right, let's roll.
Lil Craig's been lying to us. That ends now.
Were you watching the other night when everything went down with Pooh?
Yeah, I saw what happened.
The Henrico Pooh Morant murder case is finally coming into focus.
Lil Craig left, and then Chuck showed up.
We're down to 2 suspects, Little Craig and Chuck Lee. Both men were seen with the victim on the night of the murder.
Okay, you know where he got the cash?
It was Pooh's money.
We know that Little Craig took our victim's stuff right after the murder. That smells like a suspect.
Hey, man, I'm ready to put some bracelets on this kid.
All right, let's roll.
We decided to bring Little Craig back in, sit him down, and have his ass go through all the lies and all the misconceptions he put us through in the first interview.
We want nothing from you but the truth.
So we go right to it. We got witnesses put your ass right in front of Pooh's car just before he ended up missing.
Because you lied to us. And the only reason people lie is because they're hiding something.
All right, I admit it. I was with Pooh late that night. We had gone to a party, but that's it. I didn't kill him.
He told us that he was just afraid, and he just gave us any old time just to put himself as far away from the crime as possible.
I left Inglewood, and Pooh was chilling in his car.
Why did you go empty out his stash house right after the murder?
And when we said that, Craig looked at us like, ooh, you know about that? We're like, yeah, of course we know about that.
I mean, Pooh would have wanted me to have it. He was dead, so it's not like he could use his stuff anymore.
It sounds hard, cold, and foul, but he knows the only thing would happen is the cops would come in there and take all that dope and all that stuff out of there.
Look, if I didn't take it, somebody else would have. I'm sorry I lied, man, but I swear I didn't kill Pooh. He was like my big brother.
We're not feeling Lil Craig at this point, so we cut him loose.
We'll be in touch with you if we have some questions, all right?
We know if we got to go back to Little Craig later, we know where to find him.
So what now?
Now we need to take a good, hard look at Chuck.
Hey, gentlemen, you have a visitor.
At the office, we get a walk-in witness.
Y'all investigating Pooh's murder, right?
Right.
I know something that can help y'all out.
He identifies himself as Chris Jones, Kiana Morris's boyfriend. He said he has information regarding that last night Pooh was saw alive.
So I was at this party, and Chuck was there.
All right, what time is this?
It's about 3 a.m.
Go on.
Chuck pulls out a gun. Everybody scatters.
What kind of weapon was it?
.40 caliber.
It was like it was a joke, but he says .40 caliber, firing up in the air the same night our victim goes off the radar. Boom, bam, that's a clue.
What's that, 40 cal, huh? How do you know that this gun was a 40 cal?
Chuck always carries that gun.
We learned from Chris Jones that he knows Chuck Lee, known him for several years. He said Chuck is a professional robber.
Does Chuck know Pooh?
Of course.
A new motive comes to light.
Pooh always rolled around with a lot of cash. His 1990 Buick LeSabre was basically a bank on wheels. That's a great target.
I saw them both at the party, well, after the party, actually. They rode off together.
You saw Chuck get into the car?
Yes.
So now we have a witness that puts our victim and Chuck in the same car where he's found dead in.
Okay. Thanks for the information, brother.
No problem.
We have a lot of evidence, but it's all circumstantial. And that's good evidence. You can get a conviction on that. But at this point, we need more.
So as we're putting together a plan, trying to figure out how we're going to get a sit down with Mr. Chuck Lee, my cell phone goes off.
Yeah, you got Quinn.
It's Kiana Morris.
Kiana. Well, okay. All right, slow down for me, sis. I can't hear you.
My partner's sitting next to me. I pop the phone on the speaker, and she's just gone. She says, you got to get to Inglewood right now, up by the Horseshoe.
It's Chuck. He's out here. He's tearing up the place.
For people living with
Does Chuck know Pooh?
Of course.
A witness helps finger Chuck Lee as the prime suspect in the murder of Henrico Pooh Morant.
What kind of weapon was it?
.40 caliber.
This is good information because this witness now puts the caliber of weapon that was used to kill our victim.
We're convinced Chuck had something to do with it.
Yeah, you got Quinn.
That's when we get this call from Kiana Morris saying we had to get up to the Horseshoe right away because Chuck was up there going crazy.
It's Chuck. He's out here. He's tearing up the place.
All right, slow down for me, sis. I can't hear you.
Chuck went after Pooh's nephew.
Chuck had come up to the Horseshoe, according to Kiana, to confront Pooh's nephew, Armani Washington.
Why you telling people that I killed Pooh?
According to Kiana, Armani was telling everybody up in Inglewood and anybody near the Horseshoe that Chuck killed his uncle.
Chuck hit him in the face. They're fighting. I'm watching right now from my apartment.
Right now?
We got a front row seat and we're not even there.
Oh my God. Get over here now.
All right, we're on the way, sister.
This thing's going crazy at this point.
All right, we need a couple squad cars.
After we hear all this noise from Kiana Morris, we're trying to get to the car as soon as possible so we can get out there and have our encounter with Chuck Lee. It was like listening to a prize fight on the radio. Armani goes down, Chuck gets on top of him, then Armani knocks Chuck down. It was like she was giving blow by blow what was going on as we're ready to run the 7 or 8 miles we got to get to the Horseshoe.
Armani's mother's here now. She's trying to save him.
Armani gets in his mother's car. Kiana says, and now Chuck is ramming the car.
He's in the car. He's ramming the old lady's car.
All right, we're on the way, sister.
Going for backup. We need backup here.
And I'm just thinking, this is utter chaos out there.
And as soon as we get there, I hang up with her, see both cars disabled in a ditch. I've got Armani, his mama, but no Chuck Lee. He is unasked the area.
All right, y'all, where's Chuck?
He took off after he rammed the car.
Chuck Lee is gone, but these other victims are there. So we want to make sure that they're okay.
All right, so we definitely got everything we need to bring this Chuck in.
Mm-hmm.
There's a ding-ding moment. There's a car being used as a weapon.
That's aggravated assault all day long when you use a vehicle to ram someone else.
All right, let's take some statements to see if we can get paper on this guy.
The next day, we secured a warrant for Chuck Lee's arrest. We got our fugitive team out there looking, but there's no sign of Chuck. He's a ghost.
We impounded Chuck's vehicle and ran the tags.
It came back registered to a woman by the name of Nakia King. It turns out she's Chuck's girlfriend and lives over in the Trestle Tree Apartments.
We were planning to scoop her up when we received information that Chuck and Nakia fled to Chicago. A few weeks later, we actually reached out to the FBI for help. They plan to have agents in Chicago try to track him down.
Then out of nowhere, we received word Chuck's girl is back in Atlanta.
Since we still had her car locked up, we called her and set up a meeting.
Hopefully, she'd give us something on Chuck.
Thanks for coming in.
So we want to talk about your boyfriend.
Sure.
So me and Vince sit down with Nakia King in the homicide office, and, you know, she seems to be helpful, but it sounds a little rehearsed.
Were you with him on the evening of January 27th?
Yeah.
You were together in Inglewood?
Uh-huh. I mean, he was there for a minute, but not too long.
So she did acknowledge that Chuck actually went to Inglewood that Saturday and that she even picked him up around midnight. They went home, watched some TV, got into bed, and went to sleep.
All right, so you're saying you picked him up around midnight?
Yeah.
Right now, we're looking at Nakia King kind of sideways because we got to remember, Kiana Morris said she saw Chuck Lee around Pooh's vehicle around 3:30 a.m., not 12 midnight. That's a big discrepancy. We decide to switch gears.
Does Chuck carry a gun?
No.
No?
We know that's not true.
So why'd you and Chuck go to Chicago?
For safety.
And she says after the fight with Armani, her life was threatened. Not just her life, but her kid's life. So she had to get out of Atlanta and head to Chicago, according to her, in order to protect her family.
I have little kids, and they were in danger.
Understandable. So where's Chuck now?
I don't know.
You were together in Chicago?
No, we got there and went our separate ways.
So you didn't see him in Chicago?
No. I gotta get my kids. Are we done?
We know Nakia's lying. She's not budging from this story. She's protecting her man. But at this point, we gotta let her go.
Thank you for your time, sister.
Waiting game time.
Oh, yeah.
Later that day, the case takes a major turn.
Homicide Velasquez. What? Feds just grabbed Chuck earlier today. Yeah, that's great news. Yep. Did you get him to talk?
We're excited about this. I can't wait to hear what Chuck has to say.
It feels like you're not telling us the truth.
Well, we're finding out just 3 months into homicide. We have a certain comfort level with witnesses.
So you didn't see him in Chicago?
No.
We want to make sure we get the information, and the most important thing is just to verify it after they give it to us.
Are we done?
Yes, absolutely.
And so like every other witness in this murder investigation, she's probably going to get around too.
Homicide Velasquez. What?
The Henrico Morant murder investigation is winding down.
The feds grabbed Chuck earlier today. That's great news.
The prime suspect, Chuck Lee, was arrested by the FBI in Chicago.
All right, thanks a lot. All right, so FBI interviewed Chuck. They're emailing us a statement.
And they agreed to send us a transcript of the interview.
Beautiful, baby.
Let's see if it's in.
Did they ask him about Pooh?
The FBI up in Chicago asked questions about Pooh's murder.
Deny.
Chuck Lee tells the FBI he's never owned a .40 caliber handgun. He went on to say that he was home asleep in Trestle Tree Village when Pooh was killed.
Damn. He gave the same BS story as his girl, Nakia.
Hold up. Check this out. It's not the same story.
When they start asking about Chuck's girlfriend, he tells the FBI agent that not only did he leave Atlanta with Nakia, but he was with her in Chicago for the entire 2 weeks. Completely different than what Nakia says.
Vinny, we can use this against her.
I knew she was lying.
I'll start the paperwork.
There we go. All right, Bob.
So we don't hesitate. We get a warrant charging Nakia with obstruction. Let's see if she remembers the truth now.
Yep. Back. Right back. You know why? Because, sister, you should have told us the truth the first time. Okay?
I let her know straight up I had a warrant for her arrest for the charge of obstruction.
And now you're deep in it, okay? Because now you could lose your children. You can end up in foster care.
Yo, you could be charged for murder here. You realize that?
But I didn't do nothing.
Then you need to go ahead and come clean with us.
Right now, this sister has every reason to talk to me now.
Do you really want to serve jail time for what Chuck did? No?
So Nakia changes her story up. She goes on to say that in the early morning hours, Chuck returned home and something was really wrong.
He was upset. He said he killed Pooh.
Why?
He said Pooh tried to rob him.
This doesn't jive. We know for a fact that Pooh's got money on him all the time. He's the target.
Chuck is the known robber, not Pooh.
I'm just telling you what Chuck said.
What she just told me in legal terminology is a third-party confession.
We have an affidavit here. We need you to sign it.
She heard the killer tell her he killed somebody. That's direct evidence I can use at trial.
Okay. Thank you, sister. You're doing the right thing. We're gonna make sure we do what we can to protect you, okay?
It seems we now know what happened that fateful night.
It was after the party. Pooh posted up in his car. He had a good time. He's probably drinking, according to other witnesses. He's probably feeling a little tipsy.
Yo, Pooh. What's up, man?
Pooh doesn't know he has a target on his back.
You take me to my crib.
Man, I'm faded, bro. I ain't finna drive nowhere right now.
Yeah, move over, bro. Got you.
And sometimes robberies, it's all about opportunity, the right moment. For some reason, Chuck decides there's only one way to get all of Pooh's money.
Yo, why you stopping?
We believe Chuck Lee just made his move on him, just like, some kind of animal in the jungle.
Yo. Hey.
We believe Chuck steals Pooh's cash and jewelry. So after the murder, Chuck tried to destroy evidence by burning the car, and that goes back to those burnt magazines we found in the crime scene. After trying to do that, Chuck just basically walked home 2 blocks away to his girlfriend's house at Trestle Tree Apartments.
I actually flew to Chicago to bring Chuck Lee back to face charges. When I picked this brother up, he was wearing that infamous racing jacket. I was like, bam, this is good. This brother really loved that coat. It was crazy.
Once Chuck was back in Atlanta, he didn't say a word, but it didn't matter. His girl, Nakia, she actually gave us the goods to put him away.
Chuck Lee is charged with malice murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, and simple battery. In November 2003, Chuck Lee is convicted and sentenced to life in prison.
Reese. Yo. They brought me fresh meat.
When I reflect back on this case, it almost feels like it's the origin story for Quentin Velasquez. This was our coming out party.
What's the motive?
Dope deal gone wrong.
Or a robbery.
Okay, you know where you got the cash?
It was Pooh's money.
We made sure that not only are we working for our victims' families, but we want that community to know that we would work as hard for them if we ever had to be there for them.
Yo, why you stopping?
You know what kind of gun it was?
40 caliber.
It was beautiful to see this community come together and fight to solve a murder.
I had some horrible memories.
A dark motive.
The key is marked on his door, and he won't let her in.
Comes to light.
Is he with us anytime?
He said that she had gotten into a U-Haul.
But nothing
Why you got bloody, huh?
is as it seems.
Hey, DD, we have a warrant.
He came out and told me that she had got in a van with 2 grand.
Until the case reaches a shocking conclusion.
Man, did you realize I almost hung myself?
Are you kidding me right now? This is crazy. We're on Boulevard in the old 4th Ward section of Atlanta. Driving through this neighborhood feels so nostalgic.
I was in Old Fourth Ward. I used to live right around the corner from here at one point.
When we worked this beat, we had really hard-working people over here just trying to pay their rent. You got junkies living in the neighborhood. You got other people living in lavish million-dollar homes, all mixed up living down here together.
This place brings back so many memories.
In fact, back in 2015, when we were winding down our careers, there was a wild case that started at this very spot.
Atlanta 911, what is the address of your emergency?
The corner of Highland and Howell Street. I found a dead body in a trash can.
How old does the person appear to be?
I can't tell. I mean, the only thing showing is the feet.
Officers quickly secure the crime scene, and rookie homicide detective Calvin Thomas is assigned lead on the case.
I had been in homicide 9 months at the time that this call came up. I'm still trying to figure things out. I'm still trying to find my footing on how to work a homicide at this particular point. I noticed that there's this big grassy field. Everyone is up underneath this brush of trees that are up there. Everyone is trying to figure out what's going on.
We worked with Calvin back then and took him under our wings.
Calvin Thomas was eager, but he was so humble. And he was like a sponge. And I was really taken aback by his humility and his presence of just trying to understand how this whole homicide things work.
But this was a real murder investigation where the training wheels were coming off and Calvin was essentially going to have to bring this thing on his own.
The information that I received on this case is that they responded to a call of a person found possibly deceased in a Herbie Kirby. A Herbie Kirby is a trash can. It's what we call in Atlanta. You can see that the person is head first, wrapped up in a blue moving blanket, where they are actually tied with 12-gauge wire. You can't tell whether it's a male or female at that particular time. All you see is their actual shoes.
Let's take a closer look.
The victim is pulled out and laid down, trying to determine how did this person end up the way they ended up.
The victim's a woman.
She had abrasions on her face. She had taken a serious beating. I mean, it's an awful thing to think about what this sister went through, and she probably knew she was going to die.
My mind is kind of really all over the place because it's bringing back some horrible memories at the time. My aunt was murdered in October of 2003. She was located next to an actual dumpster.
Her name was Cassandra Bryant. She was beaten to death. Her body was discarded like a piece of trash. And Quinn and I worked that case like no other case. We made her death matter. And we put that person in prison for killing his aunt.
The top guys in homicide worked my aunt's murder. So it meant a lot to me at that time.
This poor victim is found discarded like a piece of trash. And now Calvin Thomas is the lead detective in a case eerily similar to his own aunt's case.
It was hard at that particular time, but I knew I needed to stay focused, stay professional, and do the job that I needed to do. So our victim at this time does not have an ID, so we didn't know a name or anything associated with the victim.
She's a Jane Doe for now.
As Calvin works the scene, I decide to pay him a visit. I heard the call come up on the radio as I'm heading home that day. I said I want to go by and watch my guy in action.
Knowing that this victim was wrapped in a blanket, put into a trash container,
we know right away there's a personal connection between this victim and her killer.
She knew her killer.
The killer's got to get rid of this evidence. They have to push this body to a space that's far away from where they are, because there can be no connection between the killer and the victim. And that's exactly what happened.
I'm thinking about who was her boyfriend, who was the last person she was with. That's kind of what I'm thinking, possibly a domestic violence type incident.
Killers are local.
So what's next?
Outside in.
I learned this from Quinn. You work the scene from the outside in, and that means so whatever the crime scene tape is, what's going on the outside of that tape. You know, concerned neighbors, just to see whether or not they saw anything.
We immediately meet a guy who claims to be looking for his girlfriend. His name is Isaiah Rhymes. He'd been missing his girlfriend for over 24 hours, and he wanted to make sure that wasn't her that was inside the trash can.
What's your girlfriend's name?
Tina.
He identifies her as Tina Bass. He says everyone calls her Tiny, though. She said this corridor is where she hangs out.
I last saw her about 2 days ago.
He said it's totally uncommon for her not to have reached out to her sister or to himself in 24 hours.
Describe her.
She's kind of short. The information that he gives for Tina, as far as her height, her weight, or what she was last seen wearing, it could definitely be our victim.
Is that her up there?
Isaiah definitely is nervous about it.
Is this her?
Calvin shows him a picture of the victim's face.
Oh, no. Lord, no.
He breaks down. He makes the identification, tears coming down his face. Calvin wonders if Isaiah's tears are real, or is this just an act to make himself appear innocent?
In our past experience, cases where especially a woman has been killed, the boyfriend has done it.
I have questions for you.
I'm really looking at Isaiah really hard at this particular time as a suspect.
This case is about to take Detective Thomas on a wild ride.
There's a wire around her neck.
Detective Calvin Thomas is investigating the murder of Tina Bass.
Killers are local.
Her body was found stuffed inside of a trash can.
I last saw her about 2 days ago.
Calvin's on it. He interviews Tina's boyfriend to get to the bottom of this thing.
He's distraught and crying, but maybe it's all an act.
I have questions for you.
Right now, I'm looking at Isaiah as a potential suspect. How she was beaten, I relate a lot of that to domestic violence.
Y'all think I did this? Did you kill her?
No.
I can see Isaiah is starting to get a little hot under the collar because of the line of questioning that Calvin Thomas is presenting to him.
I'm sure that you wouldn't mind providing a DNA sample.
Our experience, most of the time, killers don't readily give up their DNA. There's a hesitation.
Sure.
Isaiah immediately responded that he could take his DNA, use it, compare it, do whatever he needed to do to try to eliminate him as a suspect.
I think in my mind that Isaiah is possibly not involved in Tina's murder. Getting the information from Isaiah on the scene of the victim's sister, I was able to contact the sister to let her know that I wanted to come see her. Death notifications are definitely one of the hardest parts of the job. I try to do them face to face.
I'm so sorry.
I knew this day would come.
Tina's sister gave Calvin the background on Tina. She said that Tina was battling drug addiction, and like many people, it had an unbreakable hold on her.
It may have played a part in her death, but as a homicide detective, we do not judge a victim's lifestyle.
No matter who dies, everyone deserves justice.
Do you think Isaiah may have done this?
No.
I'll be in touch.
Tina's sister didn't have any idea of who could have committed the crime in this particular case.
Hello?
Okay, I'm on my way.
Calvin gets word that Tina's autopsy is complete. He hopes to learn something that can help solve the case. We meet with Calvin to go over the findings.
They say there was blunt force trauma to the face, to the head area, and strangulation. The ligature that was around her neck was white. It's white wire. Matter of fact, I have a couple photos of it that I can show you guys. It was fairly loose around her neck, so it was kind of hard to determine whether or not this was used to strangle her. Send it down to the GBI for test DNA. I mean, the yellow wire here, as you can, I mean, it's tied like a Boy Scout tied it. So I'm thinking, you know, hands, sweat, anything of that nature could be on it. Because I felt like this was probably going to be a DNA type of a case.
We're looking at DNA, also fingernails. One of the things you did was, cleverly, you preserved those nails.
Just from talking to our sister, actually, she said she was a fighter, so I'm almost certain that she fought for her life.
Yeah.
So at that point, we knew, you know, let's go ahead and clip these fingernails and preserve those and send those down to GBI for testing. I believed at that time could be the killer's DNA underneath.
Nice. So now you send this off to the GBI and it's waiting game. You're waiting for this DNA to come back. What do you do next?
We went back out to the neighborhood, man. I wanted to let the neighbors know that hey, I'm here and we're gonna try to figure out what happened to your friend Tina.
This is not a homicide that you're gonna sit at your desk and work. This is boots on the ground. This is grinding up shoe leather. I love it. Calvin heads out to Old Fourth Ward on a mission.
Boots on the ground is a term that we use up in homicide. You can't solve a homicide by sitting at your desk all day. So you definitely want to get out there and knock on doors, let the community know that we're trying to solve this crime. The community kept pointing towards a guy by the name of Jeff. And not that he was a suspect in the case, but that he possibly would have information on the case.
The streets were saying Jeff was action news for Old Fourth Ward. If anything went on in Old Fourth Ward, Jeff was going to know about it.
What about this guy?
Right here?
Yeah, that's him.
Calvin knew there's something there. People aren't making that up. He had to go sit down and do a face-to-face with Jeff.
Jeff identifies himself as Jeffrey Bolton.
I'm Detective Thomas.
Calvin records audio of the interview.
I want to talk to you about Tanya. You know her?
Yeah, we was at the house.
Did you witness anything?
Jeff claims that he saw Tina the night before her body was found. When Jeff discloses that he saw Tina the night before the murder, I'm sure it got Detective Thomas excited. I would have been like, oh yeah, my timeline just changed in a big damn way.
Where do you live?
Right there.
The actual street is right across the street from where the victim is located. So it's within walking distance from the house that Jeff lives in. According to Jeff, he and Tina was standing outside, I guess just having a conversation. And then this U-Haul just randomly came down Mackenzie Drive and stopped in front of his house.
You see a U-Haul truck came up to big U-Haul truck.
He starts to talk about two Hispanic males got out of the vehicle and asked where were the ladies. And Tina identified herself as, I'm right here.
I kind of don't know the folks. Don't go with the folks. You got in the truck right there, they ain't seen Tina shit.
Based off Jeff talking about Tina getting in his car with two men, I mean, right now, the music is playing, so Calvin's got to start dancing.
What do these two guys look like?
Right now, Calvin's got two new suspects in Tina's murder.
I want to talk to you about Tina.
The Tina Bass homicide case is heating up.
The U-Haul truck came up to big U-Haul truck.
Detective Calvin Thomas interviews a witness that says victim Tina Bass got into a vehicle with two unidentified men.
You got in the truck right there, and I ain't seen China shoot.
So now the question is, could one or both of these individuals be the actual killer? Calvin presses Jeff Bolton for details about these mystery men.
We should get in the truck with two men, right? I ain't get no names in that.
Only thing he really talked about was them being Hispanic.
Jeff's story raises a red flag.
It just didn't sound right. He glossed over that thing really quickly. There was no detail involved. If I was in Calvin's head, all I would hear is, yeah, right. He wasn't buying it.
What else do you remember?
Suddenly, Jeff adds a new wrinkle to his story.
I had saw Tiny again.
According to Jeff, minutes later they came back where he states that Tina asked for a blanket.
She come back to my door and look for a quilt to lay on. I gave her a new quilt. She said, I'm gonna bring it back. I ain't seen the Tiny or the quilt.
He's brought this blanket up, and being that this is a piece of evidence that we located on the scene, I'm definitely interested more in what Jeff has to say about Tina.
Calvin wonders if Jeff is misleading him.
Quinn and I have had cases in the past where the suspect actually inserts themselves in the investigation. I harken back to the Cassandra Bryant case, Calvin Thomas's aunt that was killed in 2003. The killer pretended to be a concerned citizen, helping with the case at first.
Is it possible that Calvin's case is shadowing his aunt's murder once again?
Calvin Thomas had to consider who's inserting themselves in this case and why are you bringing in all this other scenario of a U-Haul truck and blankets?
You don't know anything about the murder? No.
The DNA that potentially could be found on victim Tina Baz is the most important key to solving this case. And Calvin Thomas knows that.
Will you consent to give up your DNA? Fine.
Let's go ahead and take the DNA. Now let's see what we are.
Even though Jeff rises to the top of the suspect list, Calvin must first look into the men in the U-Haul.
We'll be in touch.
So you're having to take everything that you're learning and verify it?
Before following up on Jeff's lead, Calvin did a big media splash on the news. He was asking the public to call Crime Stoppers with any tips.
He then began canvassing the area of Mackenzie Drive, which is where Jeff Bolton claimed he saw Tina get into a U-Haul with two guys. Calvin quickly found a home with a security camera pointed towards the street where Tina allegedly got into that truck.
Calvin spoke with the homeowner who just happened to be Jeff's next-door neighbor. The guy didn't remember seeing a U-Haul truck the night that Tina disappeared, but he agreed to share the video.
At this point, Calvin really didn't have a lot of information, so this video was a huge deal. If Jeff was telling the truth or if he was lying, the video could crack this case wide open.
Back at the office, Calvin reviews the surveillance video.
You have to do your due diligence and try to identify whether or not his story is believable. Jeff gave a time of between 9 and 10 p.m. of when the U-Haul truck came down Mackenzie Drive.
Calvin doesn't see the truck. He doesn't spot any signs of Tina or Jeff either.
Calvin watched this video over and over for hours, and he saw nothing that would corroborate what Jeff said.
There's nothing on here.
So Jeff lied to me.
He could have been rinsed off with that video, but he's back in it. He goes right to the top of the suspect list.
So Calvin Thomas now, knowing that Jeff Bolton is lying, has to take a deeper dive onto just who Jeff Bolton is. Part of that, in the history of working any case, is criminal history. Does he fit the profile of someone capable of doing what was done to Tina Baz?
I can see that Jeff had about 27 cycles of arrests. He was a convicted felon as well, and mostly drug offenses, burglary, and crimes against persons as well.
That's that's a big damn moment because that shows that this ladder that he's climbing, it could have graduated onto murder.
It put me in the state of Jeff could definitely be a suspect in this case. So we definitely want to do a search warrant on the house.
Detective Thomas.
You're working the Tyna Vance murder?
Yes.
It's the Crime Stoppers tip line. And they have a lead that's about to turn the case upside down.
We have a tipster saying they know who the killer is.
What do these two guys look like?
The key witness in the Tyna Bass homicide investigation appears to be misleading police.
There's nothing on here.
Jeff Bolton's whole story looks like a complete lie. It's time to get a search warrant for Jeff Bolton's house.
You're working the Tyna Vance murder?
Yes.
Just when it looks like Calvin Thomas's investigation is heading in one direction, it hits a detour.
We have a tipster saying they know who the killer is.
There's always a lot of twists and turns when you're looking for justice.
What's the name?
Michael Smith. He goes by the nickname Friezo, and Friezo killed Tyna.
So the tipster did state that Tyna and Friezo were drinking the night before the murder, and at some point became upset with Tyna and began to strike her.
How does the tipster know this?
He didn't say, and he wanted to remain anonymous.
This is a detour that Calvin Thomas does not want to take, but he has to. Because it's now looking like it's either going to be Friezo or it's going to be Jeff Bolton.
The first thing Calvin had to do was to vet Friezo out. He pulled Friezo's criminal history, and he had quite the lengthy record. Friezo wasn't in jail, and it was his current address that really stuck out. He lived in close proximity to the crime scene, so that was a big red flag.
At this point, Calvin turned his attention to Friezo. Police quickly tracked Friezo down and brought him to homicide for an interview. It was time for Calvin to get some answers.
Friezo agrees to a videotaped interview.
I just don't formally introduce myself to you, okay? I'll take the time. My first name, Cal.
Friezo says he's known Tyna for a while.
Friezo also openly admits that his relationship with Tyna involves sex, drugs, and violence.
How often did you guys argue? Doing something? Anytime she was drunk.
He definitely came out and said that, we fought all the time.
I want to click your name, you know what I'm saying? Because your name is suspect number one. I'm just keeping it real with you. Okay. Alright.
Friezo adamantly denies killing Tyna.
And our people gotta take a test. And I'll pay for it. So swallow me, please. Take my blood, whatever you gotta do. I don't kill you.
Alright, man.
We do ask him to consent to a DNA swab where he does consent. So we take his DNA as well, and we send that off to the GBI for testing.
When Calvin continues the interview, Friezo swears he wasn't with Tyna, but he did in fact see her.
According to Friezo, the night before she's found dead, Tyna came by his house to get something to eat.
So when she came over, how long did she stay?
She didn't stay 5 minutes. So she was hungry. That's what sit down with me. I'm in the bathroom. When I came back out, she was gone.
He's got to figure out whether or not he's going to be culpable for this murder.
So we bring up things that the tipster talked about them drinking together, about how he may have gotten upset with her and began to strike her, but he became very defensive of that. And he just shut down.
Calvin doesn't give up.
We asked Friezo would he be open to taking a CVSA, which is a computer voice stress analyzer exam.
Friezo agrees to participate.
It's a test where it detects stress in a person, and it will give a score regarding your answers.
Usually what it does is it just going to rule you out as any involvement with anything. That's what we're here for today, right?
Basically, they're asking questions they would ask in a polygraph.
Like I said, I'm not here to trick you.
But they're listening to your voice.
Just talk normal like being you are. We're good to go, man.
The person that's trained in this machine can ask some control questions to find out what your level of truthfulness is.
Are we in the city of Atlanta?
And then ask the hard questions.
Did you see Jeff choke Tiny?
No.
Did you choke Tiny?
No.
Out of the blue, Friezo makes a shocking statement.
I have choked him before.
What do you mean by that?
I have choked him before.
It was mind-boggling for me to even hear him say that.
I have choked him, yeah. I ain't choked him, yeah.
When was the last time you choked her?
About 4 or 5 months ago.
4 or 5 months.
Yeah. I think maybe this year.
He's choked Tyna Bass in the past, and Tyna Bass later is choked to death. That's a clue in the business. One would have to consider, and Calvin Thomas did, that Friezo is the guy.
It's the new version of a polygraph test.
Okay.
Friezo, a suspect in the Tyna Bass murder, agrees to do a vocal stress test.
Did you choke Tiny?
No.
And Friezo makes a damning statement.
I have choked him before.
When was the last time you choked her?
Last year. I think maybe this year.
Friezo might be the killer.
But you didn't choke her on the day in question.
No, I didn't.
For him to say that, he's choked her before, definitely sent my spidey senses up on that one. So after the exam is completed, we go over the results of the exam.
He had a lot of stress, and that's what didn't get.
This test shows he's being deceptive.
So we have a problem. Okay. And I know when you said that you had choked her in the past, you tell us into Thomas that?
No, we're fine.
You never told me you choked her though.
We're fine.
Friezo doesn't have a response to his deception. He just pretty much met us with anger.
Okay, I ain't lying.
Don't get angry with me.
I never seen it lying.
No, it's not.
I never seen it as bullshit, man. That's bullshit. Because I was at home, man.
Just because Friezo showed deception, that's not anything Calvin Thomas could have held him for. Can't arrest him. It's not even admissible in court.
I think I'm gonna stop this because I know who I was. I know I did it. Because I will never arrest him.
You gotta let him go.
Friezo walking out of that door definitely left me feeling like he was involved in this murder.
After the interview, Calvin gets word that the search warrant for Jeff Bolton's home is approved.
We go out and we serve a search warrant at Jeff's house.
I joined Calvin on the search. I'm just an extra set of eyes. I'm an experienced detective that knows what to look for, so Calvin Thomas asked me to come with him.
Hey, BD, we have a warrant.
No one answered the door, so we had to force entry. Literally using a battering ram, had to bust the front door open to get inside this house.
The house is extremely dirty. It's filthy. We were looking for blood. We were looking for moving blankets. We were looking for the electrical wiring that the victim was tied up in as well.
And as I traversed down this hallway, I looked down and I saw a reddish-brown substance that I was very familiar with. A substance I've seen many times in my career.
Come. What's up, man? Check it out.
And I pointed down, and Detective Thomas looked at it and said, "Yeah, V, that's blood."
We got him. First thing that goes to my head is, I think we found our crime scene.
This evidence could break the case wide open.
Yo, John, come get a photo of this. Let's keep going.
My first big find was a bloody shoe print that was on the floor of the house. So we swabbed that shoe print.
As we continue doing the search warrant at Jeff Bolton's house, we both look at each other and we're like, no way. There's a blue moving blanket identical to the one that Tyna Bass is wrapped in.
You crossing Freezer off the suspect list? I don't know if we can do that just yet.
Right now, our boy Calvin's got his hands full. He's got this really compelling case with Jeff. So, is the killer Jeff? Is it Friezo? Or is it both of them?
Well, DNA test should sort it out.
Suddenly, Calvin gets a surprise visitor.
Hey, Jeff Bolton's outside. Wants to talk to you guys.
It's all adding up, and the sum of all totals we're looking at right now is named Jeff Bolton.
Come with some answers.
Calvin brought Jeff to the homicide office and did round 2 with him. He asked Jeff about the blood found in his home. Jeff claimed that Tina had tripped and cut herself and explained that's why there was blood in the house. It didn't make sense, and Jeff said he didn't do it, and he said all he's going to say.
With no hard evidence against him, Jeff was allowed to leave. But Calvin told him, we're going to be speaking again. Days passed by with no new leads, and the forensic testing had yet to be completed.
Calvin believed in his heart that Jeff was involved, and he decided to take another run at him.
Jeff, hop in so we can have a word.
Calvin heads over to Jeff's house and convinces him to have a chat in his car.
I put my mic on and just went right in and started speaking to him.
Calvin decides to use a new tactic with Jeff.
Many times detectives have to introduce an alternative reality. He now has to give him something. It's called an out.
Let me ask you this. Was it an accident?
Huh?
Was it an accident?
Yeah.
Jeff actually jumped on. He latched on to that idea of it being an accident. Why was it an accident? Just tell me that. I felt like it was like the sun really came out.
Cause it wasn't meant to happen.
I was like, oh my God, like we're almost there.
Jeff, hop in so we can have a word.
Jeff Bolton, the prime suspect in the Tina Bass murder, seems to be on the verge of confessing.
While speaking with Jeff, I wanted to at least give him an out for if he did commit this murder. Was it an accident?
Yeah.
That was brilliant on Calvin Thomas's part to ask that question. If it was a mistake or you didn't mean it to happen, go ahead and tell me.
Why was it an accident? Just tell me that.
Cause it wasn't meant to happen.
I felt like we're almost there. Just keep plugging along, keep plugging along. Who caused the accident itself?
The other 2 people.
Okay, I don't know, but
it wasn't Friezo. I'm just trying to make sure Friezo ain't in this.
It was like he was freeing him from it, and I couldn't understand why.
I was drunk. I knew I was good and drunk.
And that's why it was an accident, right? Because you were drunk, stuff happened, right?
No, I ain't talking about me. With other folks running him out.
Who was other folks, Jeff? He's all over the place. He's talking about he hadn't had any sleep, how he wanted to kill himself.
Man, did you realize I almost hung myself? Did you realize I almost took an overdose of people?
Let's stay focused on this accident. I wasn't going to let it go until I got a little bit more information. Tell me what you remember, and then I'll work with you on the rest of that.
Okay. Come to the house.
Okay. Now, is you tight end? Who else?
Your daddy.
That's when he interjects Little Donnie into the scene. Who was Little Donnie?
You gotta go out and get high and crazy.
According to Jeff, they were smoking crack, and Little Donnie became upset with Tina for some reason. And Little Donnie is the one that hit Tina in the face. Jeff stated that he left and came back to the house. No one was there. Very convenient.
There's no such thing as a Little Donnie. This is a crutch put together by Jeff Bolton just to get suspicion away from his name.
I just want to hear the truth.
Well, I don't know what I did.
Okay.
If I did, then I ain't need to do it.
That's exactly the result that Calvin Thomas was looking for. An innocent person doesn't say that.
All right, Jeff. We're done.
Calvin Thomas had affirmation and confirmation at that moment that he had the right guy.
But we wanted to be sure and wait on the results from the GBI. I'm thinking, at any day it could come in.
It takes 3 weeks before all the forensic testing is completed.
The blood that then and Detective Thomas found in Jeff Bolton's home comes back to actually being Tyna's blood.
Her boyfriend, Isaiah's DNA was not located anywhere on the victim. Friezo's DNA was not located on the victim.
And then upon further analysis, it's found that Jeff's DNA is under the fingernails of our victim, Tyna Bass. It's a wrap. Jeff's the dude. The hands don't lie. Based on all the evidence and statements, Calvin pieces together what happened to Tyna Bass.
Tyna, Jeff, and another person that's unknown at this particular time were smoking crack cocaine. At some point, an argument ensued. A fight occurred. And Tyna was assaulted physically and strangled. Jeff rolled her up in a blanket, tied her up, and put her in the trash can to try to get rid of her. So that's what I believe happened that particular night.
On April 13th, 2016, Jeff Bolton is charged with Tyna Bass's murder, but the case never goes to trial.
Jeff pleads guilty to murder, where he's ultimately sentenced to 30 years.
Congratulations on solving the case.
Thank you.
My
I appreciate
brother.
that.
Great job on that, man. Great job.
Thank you, man. It really meant a lot to get some justice for Tyna's family, man.
When I think about this case and everything that Calvin Thomas had to go through to find justice for Tyna Bass.
Yo, I got something.
And then the connection that Calvin Thomas has to myself and Detective Quinn.
What's up, man? Check it out.
And then what we did to help him on this case, and then going back to when Quinn and I worked Calvin Thomas's aunt's case, Cassandra Bryant.
This case meant a lot to me, mainly because of the similarities between